What's up, guys? Just want to go over a couple pairs here. We got some Concords. It's Air Jordan 11s, Concord colorway. On the left, we got a 9.5 from Footlocker.com. There we go. You can see all that clearly. Here on the right, we have a pair of early release. These are from a mom and pop shop type of place. They don't sell retail, they sell over retail. So they ripped the price off there. I don't know why, but you know, they charge around $300. So that's what they do. They just tear the price off. And these are pre-release. So we're gonna go over a couple things. I'm gonna give you something important that nobody really talks about when you're legit trekking these. So went ahead, I took the inserts out of the right foot, and I also took the soles out of both right foots. So now when we look here, one's from a 9.5. If you can see that close, 8.5 to 10. All right. Now we take that. Should be the same exact thing. 8.5 to 10. All right. So these are identical. So they'll come for any size, 8.5 through 10. They're gonna look the same. They're gonna have the same numbers on them. Here you got two insoles. Boom. Nothing for concern there. If you look at the bottom, there's always ink on the bottom of these. That comes off from the bottom of the insole. So here, if you look close, that's a 9.5. All right. And also you see the QF8. That QF8 was right there too. QF8H. So there you go. You got your size there. And just make sure you know you got that little box there. You got the ink rub off, and the rest should match up. Now that's your 9.5. This is off the 10. Same thing. Got your ink there. You got that little square. You got your sizes here. US 10, QF 8. All right. So that's all good. Now, the next thing you gotta check for. Not a lot of people tell you to do this, but let me get some extra light on. Difference. All right. So the thing you want to check for on the inside of the shoe, if you get the right lighting. Now, you can see that little hole there, and you can see where the code came from that rubbed off on the insole. So you can always see there's blue ink there. You want to look at the stitching. You want it all to be close together, same size, basically evenly spaced, clean stitching. That's important. Then that hole in the insole is important as well. Some fakes may be missing that, as well as the code. So that's just one thing to look for that not a lot of people talk about, is that hole. Also, the obvious stuff you want to check is you want to compare all this stuff here. So you see your UPC 91887, and then the first half is for every Concord is gonna have, it's gonna start with at least every adult pair. is going to start with 91887. Now the next numbers, those change by size. So you can see there it's 99262. Now if you go here, you got the same thing. You got your 91887, then that's followed by 99263. The other one had 262. So what it looks like is they're in order. It doesn't have to be, and this might not be true for the full size run, but right here it is. So you see the 9.5 ends with a 6.2, the 10 ends with a 6.3. That would make you think that the 10.5 would end in a 6.4, and so on and so forth. All right, so that's that. And then I guess this is like the style code. Obviously, this is going to be the same on all of them. So that 378037, that only identifies as a Air Jordan 11. So pretty much any 11 you have should probably start with 378037. Now where it changes is the 100. That's the color code. So the Concord's color code is the 100. So if you have a pair of breads, it should probably be 378037, and then instead of 100, it's going to be a different number there. So you want to make sure all your numbers match on the box. So you check the UPC, you check the style code, you check all that stuff. Now what you do is you got to cross-check that to the inside of the shoe. So it shouldn't be one number on the box and a different number on the shoe. That's going to be a problem. So you basically go into the shoe where the UPC is back there. It's hard to see on the camera. Can't even get the angle right. But that's basically it. All right, so I'm gonna just read it off because it's too hard to see. You got the first thing under the size, you got the 378037, all right, with the 100. That's correct. Now with the UPC, this says 00191887992622. See that? 99262 and then the 2. Then there's a that's pretty much it. And then the 108, where does that come from? I'm not sure. So basically that has to match that, and if you find all those things matched up, pretty good chance you're looking at a real pair. So then the other thing I want to show is this Footlocker pair here. If you look at the Jumpman, it's not necessarily the greatest stitching. Kind of see the edges are very like jagged. It's very like, you know, it's not smooth at all. And that's from footlocker.com. All right. That's both feet off the 9.5. You got the 4.5s, pretty clean. You got that. Now another defect I noticed is right here. If you can see that, that's not cut very perfectly. And again, that's just what you get with buying shoes that were manufactured in China in a mass production process. They're not going to be the same as a pair of limited Balenciagas or Gucci's that were made in smaller quantities with a higher quality control, you know, and a much higher price tag. So that's the difference, you know. So when it comes to Nikes or Jordans, you're bound to see some glue here and there. You're bound to find some bad stitching, you know what I mean? Like if you look right here, not as clean as it could be right there, you know. You see a little thread, you see a little, but aside from that, it's a very clean pair. I think they did a real good job on these. Also, if you look at the close detail, you see the nubs on the midsole, all those tiny nubs. On the fake pairs, they might not be there, and they won't be in the same spot. You might find a couple up top, but you won't see them. detail. Everybody knows about the widow's peaks. You got one there where the patent leather with the leather meet the canvas, where they all meet. You got one there. You got one on the other side where they meet. All right, and then obviously you got the one on the toe box. That's pretty much it. So that's the 9.5. Now we'll take the 10s. These were the early release. Pretty much everything's the same. Some details are actually cleaner on these, and then you know, there's a couple things that you could nitpick about as well. There's the Jumpman's, maybe slightly cleaner than the Footlocker pair. One of the 4.5s, see that? It's got a tiny dot right there by the lace. Tiny speck of white that's missing. So, same thing, little defects. Cut on the sole, where the midsole is meeting the patent leather. Doesn't look as smooth as it should be right there. Aside from that, though, you see the nubs. Overall, quality's pretty good, but you know, it's just little things that you can nitpick about that aren't perfect, but it's to be expected, honestly. That's pretty much it. So you always want to check for that hole, though. There it is in the 10. Get the lighting better. There you can see the hole, and you can see the ink. So that's definitely something you gotta look for. The stamp should be there, and you should have a hole underneath when you take out the sole. And you should be looking at the inside of the midsole from the shoe, and you should find that. All right. And like I said, all the codes should match up. And that's pretty much it.